Hey everybody, it's Kate, the West Coast Paper Crafter, tuning in from Vancouver Island, Canada. For those of you who don't know, I am a Stampin Up demonstrator, and tonight I have a special project to share. I am going to use a bundle that has been in my stash for quite a long time, and I don't use it. This is one of my least favorite sets ever. I thought it was such a good idea when I ordered it, and it turns out it's not for me, and I'm going to show you why. So let me just get straightened up here so I know everything is working in the land of Facebook. I just have to refresh my laptop to do that, and then I can see everything's working great. So the reason that this is my least favorite bundle is because of all these dies. Now, they look really pretty, but when you use this die, this is not a border. This actually cuts out a frame. And I don't love that. I don't use a lot of frames. I thought I was going to use this all the time. For example, this die that I'm using tonight, it's so delicate. It is such a skinny, delicate little frame that it's not for me. So that is the reason why this set has been collecting dust, is simply because turns out I don't like working with these tiny, thin little frames, even though when I looked at it in the catalog and all the examples, I thought, oh yeah, this is so pretty, and then I never used it. So I must not be the only one who buys something and thinks that they're going to love it, and then in reality, when they start using it or trying to use it, they decide it turns out it's not for them. Hey Sharon, thanks for tuning in. So now you know why this has been collecting dust, why I have not made projects with it. The stamps has a lot of different sentiments, and some of them I have used, but it's really the die set that has turned me off, simply because I just don't make a lot of frames. But that's going to change because I have an idea, and I think it's going to come together, and maybe I'm going to change my mind. So let's see. I'll get this out of the way, and I am going to use a new pack of designer series paper called Lovely Garden, and this has got lots of nice floral designs and coordinating patterns. So I'll just flip through it quickly. So this will be the first project that I've actually used this paper for as well. So that's been collecting dust too. I've had this for about a month and I haven't used it yet. So anyway, it's all changing tonight, friends. So let's get going, and I'm going to try to change my mind with Unbounded Love and get over it. Hey Wendy, hello Loretta, Kate, thanks for tuning in. All right, I'm going to go over the pieces. So I've gone ahead and I've die cut everything out. And is that it? Let me see. Yeah, that's it. So where did I put that? Before I put this away, I should show you. So I used this die, and I think this die was the reason that I really wanted this set. And what this does is it cuts out the center, right? And then also the frame. So the reason why in the measurement photo I've cut out 2 of these is because I need a green frame and the white piece that goes in the middle. And then these 2 pieces I'm just going to set aside and possibly use for another project. I won't waste them, but I only wanted the green frame and then the white inside, so that's why I cut out 2 pieces. Hey Teresa, thanks for tuning in. And Christine from NE Illinois, does that mean Northeast Illinois? You have to educate me on all the states because I haven't traveled very much in the states. All right, Wendy, you're not in love with basic beige. Hey Kathy, thanks for tuning in. Well, use any other color than basic beige. I like it, but I do like soft colors. I love crumb cake. I think crumb cake might be my absolute favorite for card bases. Anyway, I digress. So I've got a card base, basic beige, unless you're Wendy, who won't be using a basic beige card base, and that's totally fine. I'm just teasing you, Wendy. Garden green layer. This is 5 1/4 by 4. I've got a piece of the lovely Garden DSP that is 5 by 3. And then I've got a coordinating piece, a little strip here that's 5 by 3/4. I've got my die cuts, and this card is going to come together. So I'm just going to fold my card base in half, and for those of you who are new to stamping, I have cut a piece of cardstock in half. So this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it on the long side at 4 1/4. And if you are brand new to stamping and you haven't made your own card bases, then send me a message or drop it in the comments, and I'm going to send you a little link to a video I made on how I do my card bases up. All right, now on our garden green layer, I'm just going to glue down the bigger piece of the designer series paper. And this is going to give you about, let me think, I think I'm going to have an 1/8 inch border around the top and the sides of the layer once I place this down, but let's take a look and find out what it looks like. I'm pretty sure it's an 1/8. Yes, so when you mat this, you're going to have about an 1/8 inch, or you should have an 1/8 inch. So you just want to adjust that paper so you're even on the top and the sides, like so. And then we'll glue down the strip right underneath it. And if I placed it right, I should have the same border on the top as I do on the bottom. I'm just going to adjust my paper just slightly because I need it a little more. I need it to come down a little bit more. And Tombow always gives me a little tiny bit of wiggle room so I can make those slight adjustments. All right. Hello, Mary Lee. Hello, Nick Ross. I have lots of watchers from Wisconsin. That's good to know. Thanks for letting me know that, Nick. All right, so now I'm just going to glue down this strip. My glue behaves. Today was my first day back to work after 2 weeks off for spring break. Plus my first day back in the office in 2 months because I was working from home while there were some renovations in my office building. So it was good to get back in the office, but then I had to set up my computer station, and that actually took me all morning. All morning. I start work at 6, and I don't think I had everything back up and running until noon. I couldn't believe how long it took. Hey Janice, thanks for tuning in. Janice, I was just saying, you might have heard it, I'm back in the office, so I will message you maybe tomorrow, and we'll make a plan because I still want your punch board, and I want to trade you some stamp sets if you're still willing to trade the punch board. All right, so I've cut a piece of basic beige ribbon, and I am just going to grab some tear and tape and cover up that seam with my basic beige ribbon. All right, so I just grabbed a little strip of tear and tape. I'm going to throw that on the back side of the card like so. I'm going to do that on the other side, and then I'm going to stick down my basic beige ribbon. All right, now if you have a take your pick tool, it's very handy for pulling off the backing of your tear and tape. I use my take your pick for everything. I might need a new one. I don't know if you can see, the camera might not focus, but my tip is actually quite bent. Oh, my camera won't focus. Anyway, you can trust me. I have really bent the tip of my take your pick tool. It gets a lot of use. Hello, Debbie from North Dakota. Thanks for tuning in. So I've got my tear and tape down. I am just going to fold over one edge of my basic beige ribbon. First of all, I got to decide which way I want it. I like it this way. I think the stitching stands out more a certain way. Yeah, this way. So I'm just going to, nope, I want it the other way. Sorry guys, I can't decide. Hey Margaret, hello Sheila. All right, yeah, this way. So I'm just lining up my ribbon so it's covering that seam between the two different pieces of the designer series paper. And I'm gonna fold it over, and that tear and tape's just gonna catch it on the back side of the card. And then that way I can just eyeball it to make sure it's straight. A little bit easier when I've got that tear and tape on the back side just to catch my ribbon. All right, like so. So what I also like to do, I've got my tear and tape down, but I like to reinforce it a little bit. Hello, Helen from Ontario. How's the weather in Ontario? Brenda, basic beige compared to very vanilla. All right, I am no color expert, but if I was to look at basic beige and very vanilla in front of me at the same time, I would say that basic beige just has kind of a warmer, light brown tone, almost like an earthy tone, where very vanilla has got its white, right? But like I said, I'm no color expert, so I'm sure somebody else a little more educated than I am when it comes to color theory would have a much better explanation for the difference between very vanilla and basic beige. But I feel like basic beige is in that just warm, earthy tone color. It's almost white, but it's almost more like a latte, right? Like a latte white, at least my type of latte, because I love things creamy. I don't do my coffee black, friends. I have to have lots of cream in it. Hey Christine, thanks for tuning in. Christine, I saw the card you made with the terrific toadstool bundle and the bright blue toadstools, and I just want to tell you that I really like it, by the way. Hey Lisa. All right, now we've got this together. I've added some more tear and tape. I took the backing off because I'm going to glue this flat. Now, if I was going to pop it up with dimensionals, I'd probably just leave the backing of the tear and tape on. But this way, it's going to hold that ribbon down and also give me a little more adhesive when I stick this to the front of my card base. So in hindsight, I'm only thinking of this now and it's too late to do anything. Well, I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. Perhaps I should have cut out my inside layer for my sentiment in basic beige to match my card better. But I didn't, so that's okay. I'm going to go with it. All right, so I'm just going to map this down on the front of the card and I'm going to eyeball it. So it is, or it has an even border, which is a little harder to do because I've got that tear and tape that's catching as well. But I nailed it. Robin, hello buddy. I miss you. We need a coffee date. I know I keep saying it. Life is so busy. But I still have that little coffee book you gave me and I haven't used it yet because I'm saving it for our coffee dates. All right. Now, here we go. Front of the card. So far, so good. But this is not the part that I don't like. The part I don't like is the die cuts. The die cuts from Unbounded Love. This is the problem. All right. So now I was watching, I can't remember who it was. Friends, I stalk people on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram to see what everybody's making. And I wish I could remember who I saw do this, but they took their extremely delicate little die cut and the inside piece that cuts out when you cut it, and then they flipped it over and they used tear and tape to secure that tiny, tiny little frame edge to the other piece of the cardstock. So I thought, well, that's clever. Why didn't I think of that? And if I thought of that ages ago, I probably would have been using this set a little bit more than I have. Well, thanks, Cynthia. I'm glad you like the colors. So here is my inside piece. I'm going to stamp a sentiment on this in Garden Green ink. And it is a sentiment from the Unbounded Love stamp set. I didn't have many to choose from because only so many fit this little piece. So I went with May All Your Wishes Come True, which Yeah, I hope everybody's wishes come true. I mean, that would be nice. All right, I'm gonna put this down over here. I'm trying not to be too clunky. I know that sometimes I forget and I kind of clunk things onto my glass mat. I know it gets really loud, so I'm trying to be mindful, but I also am in menopause and my brain forgets, so be patient with me. Hey Jackie, thanks for tuning in. All right, I'm gonna stamp this, hopefully get it straight. That took me a second to commit to that. Oh, I nailed it. There we go. No, now you can see how I write myself notes. I forgot to pay my MasterCard and I need to pay it before the end of this week or it's going to be late. And I just remembered just before I hit go on the live. So I grabbed my pen and this is how I write my reminder notes. I know it's terrible, but I've been doing it my whole life. I write myself little reminder notes on my palm. Am I the only one that does that? I hope not. Okay, now I hope this is dry. Sometimes dark colors need a little extra time to dry, and if you're like me, I'm a color smudger on all my cards, so it won't surprise me if I smudge the colors, but I'll try not to. Hello, Sabine from Germany. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So now this piece is just going to pop in. It's going to fit around those little leaves. I'm going to flip that over and let's see how this works. Grab my tear and tape, just little pieces, and I just want to make sure that that inside piece is lined up. I'm going to hold it down with one finger. And I don't have very much to work with, so I'm just going to try to get that tear and tape right along the edge of the green frame. And I'm going to do that on the opposite side. And I think it's going to work really good. Let me know if anybody has done this before, because I am literally learning a new trick that I'm sure most people have been doing, and I'm just slow. I'm slow on catching up on how people do things to make crafting a little bit easier. I like to do things the hard way first. Just kidding. Well, no, I'm not kidding. I do tend to do things the hard way first until I find an easier way. All right, so now I'm just gonna stick this down on the side, and I'm just gonna manipulate it with my finger because that frame wants to pop out a little bit. So I'm just pushing it a little bit closer to that white sentiment piece. I think I got it. Let's see. Yep, pretty good. Now I've still got it unattached on this side where all the little leaves kind of come into that paper. So I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of tear and tape on here as well. And then I think I can give myself a hard time, and it turns out working with these tiny little delicate frames maybe isn't as hard as I thought it was. Hey Denise, thanks for tuning in. You're not late, you're right on time. Hello Susan from Australia. In Australia, maybe I'm wrong Susan, but you must be a day ahead of us in Canada. Is it Tuesday in Australia? All right. There we go. I think I got it just the way I like it. So it's completely secured by all that tear and tape on the back. I am not taking the backing off. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. Oh shoot. You know what? I might be taking a little backing off. I forgot to do one thing. I do want to add these other little die cuts to the side. So my options are to just add some more tear and tape, or I can pull up that tear and tape, stick those leaves down, and then I'll add another piece just to reinforce it. That's what I might do. I might regret it, but I don't think so. Hey Joanne from Mexico, and Marianne, it is Tuesday in Australia at 1:30 in the afternoon. Good to know. All right, so I've got a little bit of tear and tape that I pulled the backing off, and I'm just going to add leaves to the back. right where that tear and tape is going to catch it. One more right here. Just about perfect. There we go. And then I will reinforce that. Hello, Gina Marie from Boston. I hope I said your name right. You're new to the channel. Well, welcome. I'm glad you tuned in. Hello, Wendy. I drove through Kamloops not too long ago. I left, my son and I went on a spring break vacation, a little adventure on a road trip, and we left 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. I have big regrets about that because I thought I was so clever to book the first ferry off the island on Saturday, which meant we had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So I didn't think that through. Anyways, it was raining so hard. I'm just going to add some dimensionals. I normally do not like to put dimensionals on top of things such as my tear and tape, the backing, for example, but I would rather put a dimensional on the backing of tear and tape than have a dimensional on my ribbon. And that's just me. That is, I don't have any great theory. I just prefer to not have a dimensional on my ribbon because I find that it just like pops things up a little bit more uneven. So normally I just want to put a dimensional on cardstock because I don't think they stick as well to the backing of the tear and tape. But I'm going for it. We'll see what happens. If they fall off in a day or two, then I know I won't do that again. Anyways, hello Catherine from Queensland, Australia. So Wendy, I hit the Coquihalla in snow because it was raining so hard on the island that I knew it was going to happen. That it was fine actually. I haven't driven in a snowstorm in a long time. So I'm just adjusting my dimensionals because they don't stick very well to the backing of the tear and tape. So I could release the backing, or I'm just going to adjust my dimensionals so they're sticking on part of the cardstock as well. And then I'm going to layer this so it's partially covering the ribbon. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to do all the things I hate doing. Dimensionals on the backing of my tear and tape, and they're also going to hit my ribbon. Oh well, I didn't think that one through. If I'm going to do it that way, I might as well go all out and stick a dimensional in the middle, and that's going to stick right on the ribbon. But I'm also not going to have my little sentiment sag if I do that. So, hey Leanne, thanks for tuning in. I have 72 viewers tonight. Wow. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Is it because I said I was going to use my least favorite stamp set and try to get creative with it? And then people want to see if I'm going to totally mess up. All right. All right. So I'm just popping this down with the dimensionals, doing the things I don't like to do, which is sticking dimensionals on my ribbon, sticking them on my tear and tape backing, but it's okay. It's going to stick. I can tell it's going to stick. Maybe the ribbon thing is just me. Anyway, hey Susan, thanks for tuning in. All right, I've got some brushed brass butterflies. Say that fast 3 times. And I am going to add one, just one I think. But if my friend Karen was watching, she would tell me more. Hello Anna, thank you. Hello Terry. All right, somehow I glued my brass butterflies shut. All right. I'm going to grab one of the bigger ones. I'm just going to peel it off. I don't need to use my take your pick for this. Wait, yes I do. I lost the whole backing to it. Let me try that again. There we go. All right, I'm going to carefully peel a butterfly off because I lost the backing on the first one, and I'm just going to pop that down right on the sentiment. So there you go. There is not too bad. The card design using my very least favorite bundle, the Unbounded Love. So let me know in the comments, do you have this bundle? And if you have it, do you like it? Do you use it? Are you a fan of teeny tiny little frames like this? So I'm not convinced I love it, but I don't hate it. And I think I'm going to flip the camera around because this card is done, friends. You're going to see my super messy craft room. And before I forget, on Thursday, I'm going to kick off April's card class at home, and I am going to be using the Cute as Can Be designer series paper, the Meant to Be dies. Let's take a look at them. I haven't even pulled them out yet. All right, lots and lots of hexagons and little flowers. That'll be cute. And there's some words. I think one word is hive. I don't know what the other one is. I'll figure that out. And then there's also dies for the bee, but I don't think I'll use those. So there is a meant to be, or I think it's called Meant to Be stamp set that's pretty current. But there was also one called Be My Valentine that came out last year, and it's still current, but I don't know how long it's going to be current for. So if I use any stamps from that coordinate with the Cute as Can Be designer series paper, I might use some of these. If you don't have that stamp set, don't worry about it. Use what you have in your stash. So I'll probably use the little honeycombs and the hearts and maybe the bee trail, but I don't love the stamps for the bee, so I don't think I'm going to use those. I think what I'm going to do is just focus a little bit more on the super adorable paper, and if I want some bee images, I'm just going to fussy cut these out. But you do you if you have the bee stamp set, and if you like that chunky little bee, then go ahead and use it. I mean, I have the punch for it, I just don't know. I don't love it. So I will be using the Be My Valentine stamps, but there's the Meant to Be that coordinates, at least I think it's called Meant to Be. So, but also if you don't have either bee stamp, then any sentiment is going to work because these cards are going to focus more on the paper. All right, and this class is for Carissa because she suggested I do it, and I said no. And then I thought about it and I said, yeah, actually I will because the paper's really cute. Just because I don't like that chunky little bee in the stamp set doesn't mean I don't like the paper. So Carissa, when you're watching on replay, yeah, you picked April's class. So thank you. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. The class, Cute as Can Be class starting on Thursday is of course free. I'm going to post the measurements on Wednesday if you're crafting along. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys like this. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see everybody on Thursday.